Alright, today I'm going to be showing you guys some changes I brought to my destroyer mech. So why did I decide to make these changes? Well, the 0.5 update recently came out and they changed a lot of things. So there's a lot of new features. However, they did change the way that encased fans work. So they no longer provide any sort of power. They don't provide any speed or anything. So I had to rebuild my mech based around that limitation. So now I had to add windmill based engines. I also had to change the glue, and they also changed the way some of the redstone works. So let's see this thing in action. So first off, we're going to watch this thing walk. So basically, each leg has a bearing that moves the whole contraption forward. You can also turn. So the turning is accomplished by this mechanism down here. There's two sequence gear shifts that are both powered by a windmill. Alright, so let's have a look at what I think is the most interesting feature, and that's the fully automatic TNT Cannon. There we go. See the TNT flying out and hitting its target. We're a bit far to see the explosions, but we can definitely see the effect. So let's go over the changes that I had to do to this to upgrade it so that it would be compatible with the 0.5 changes. So most obvious are these windmill engines. So these windmill engines are a bit bigger than the encased fan engines. So right here, this is just a 1 by 1 by 3 setup really, or even one, there's only 2 blocks that make up an engine. When you have a windmill, well, you need at least 8 blocks that are turning plus the bearing, so that makes for something a lot bigger. So at first, I was a little bit worried. I was thinking, oh man, how am I gonna hide these? These are taking up so much space, but then I said, hey, okay, I can probably embrace these and I can make something cool out of them. So instead of trying to hide them, I just said, hey, let's make some moving parts that just kind of look cool. So what I have here are, I just put some saw blades on here. This thing is a mean machine, so I think it fits the aesthetic pretty well. I also have the engines for the TNT cannons back here. These I decided to decorate like this. I put a magma block in each of them, kind of as a tribute to the old fan engines that we will no longer be seeing. So we no longer have a use for magma blocks anymore, so now they're more of a decoration block. So one of the other changes that I had to do because of 0.5 was I had to change the glue. So I actually had to rebuild the whole thing. So I didn't technically have to rebuild. I could have used the gluing tool, but I was running into a lot of problems, so I decided to redo the whole thing block by block just so I could be sure that I was gluing together the parts that I thought was gluing together. Now the third change is I had to add an oscillator circuit for the forward controls, and this is because what happened in 0.5 was they changed the way that redstone receivers and transmitters work. So before they used to turn off when the contraption was in motion, and then when the contraption stopped moving, they turned back on, and that created a pulse. So sequence gear shifts are controlled by pulses, so you need a pulse. Right now what happens is they just stay on. So that's why I had to make that change. I ran into a few problems while upgrading to 0.5, namely, with the new fan engines, there's kind of a problem where they don't rotate consistently, and so I had to do a few experiments, kind of like with my piston experiments video, to make sure that I got the rotation working how I wanted it, consistently each time. So I made a few setups here. All of these setups work, and I will include schematics of these in the description so that you can look at, so you can play around with that, look at them. They all work. So these are all working things that you can use for your own builds. So if we look around here, well, we have a few prototypes that kind of ran into some issues. I have a redstone torch floating here. Weird. So there was a lot of work that went into here, a lot of trial and error before I finally got the final form. So as always, I'm going to include schematics of the build in the description. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.